You ever wonder why a new coffee shop pops up right next to an old one? Or, why your favorite brand is always dropping a new and improved version of something you just bought? Yeah, that's not a coincidence. It's all driven by this powerful, kind of invisible force that shapes pretty much every single purchase you make. And today, we're going to break down that very force, competition. Seriously, it's the engine at the very heart of how our markets work, and it influences everything, from the price of your groceries to the cool new features on your phone.
So to really get a handle on this, we've got to see the world around us for what it is. It's basically a constant, everyday battleground where businesses are all fighting for your attention and, well, your money. So what is competition, really? Well, in the simplest terms, it's when different companies are all trying to sell a similar product to the exact same group of people, and that's you. See, every single choice you make, every time you buy something, you're sending a signal. You're telling businesses what you value. And in a market economy, businesses don't just compete to win. They have to compete just to survive and hopefully grow.
Which kind of brings us to a pretty fundamental question. Why even bother with all this? What's the real motivation for businesses to be constantly fighting for our cash?
It really boils down to three core motives. You've got, first, a company has to compete just to get its foot in the door, to enter a market. Then it has to keep on competing just to stay alive. And finally, the big one, to make a profit. That's what lets them grow and innovate for the future.
And that second motive, just survival, is absolutely critical. Just take the case of Debenhams. This was a huge retailer, been around forever. But they completely failed to adapt when everyone started shopping online, and newer, faster competitors like ASOS and Boohoo just swooped in and took over their market share. It's a pretty stark reminder that in this battle, if you don't evolve, you just disappear.
Okay, but on the flip side, let's look at that drive for profit. Is there any better example than Apple? Come on. They don't just survive, they totally thrive by using innovation as their main weapon. The iPhone wasn't just some lucky one-off success. By consistently staying ahead of their rivals, they secure these massive profits and build incredible, almost fanatical customer loyalty.
All right, so we get why businesses compete. But how do they actually do it? This is where things get interesting, where we see strategies like price wars and these epic brand battles come into play.
Okay, so there are basically two main arenas for this fight. First up, you've got price competition. This one's pretty obvious, right? It's just slashing prices to get you in the door. Think of all those promotions you see at supermarkets like Tesco or Asda. But then there's non-price competition, and this is where it gets a lot more subtle. This is all about convincing you their product is better, maybe through quality or service or just a cooler brand image, all without actually dropping the price.
And this really gets to the heart of that non-price competition. Advertising isn't just about giving you information. Its real goal, its primary goal, is persuasion. It's about creating this feeling that one product is way better than another, even when, let's be honest, they're almost identical.
Just think about it. Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, right? For decades, these two have been locked in this huge brand battle. They both sell incredibly similar brown fizzy drinks, but their ads, their logos, their sponsorships, they create these totally different identities. So they're not just competing on taste, they're competing on the loyalty and the feeling they can build around their brand.
Okay, so businesses are out there fighting these epic battles. That's great for them, but what does any of this actually mean for us? For our wallets and for the choices we have to make every single day?
Well, for us as consumers, it's honestly a bit of a mixed bag. The upside? It's huge. Competition pushes companies to give us lower prices, better quality products, and a massive amount of choice. But, yeah, there's a flip side. It can also lead to some pretty manipulative advertising, really confusing hidden fees, and, oh yeah, the cost of all that marketing, that gets passed right down to us in the final price.
And believe me, those hidden costs are everywhere. That branded cereal you love, it might cost more just because of the massive ad budget behind it. Or think about low-cost airlines. They hook you with this super cheap ticket price, but then they just pile on the extra charges for luggage, for picking your seat, even for printing your boarding pass. It's all a competitive strategy, designed to make that initial price look absolutely unbeatable.
And what about for the businesses themselves? Well, it's super high stakes. Competition is a powerful motivator for sure. It forces them to be more efficient, to innovate, and that's good for the whole economy. But the pressure is just immense. If a company can't keep up, it can fail. And that can lead to significant job losses, like we saw with the collapse of British home stores.
So when you really pull it all together, you can see that competition is a real double-edged sword.
It drives all the progress and the value that we love, but at the same time, it operates with this relentless, totally unforgiving logic.
But let's make no mistake here. Despite all the downsides, competition is still the single most important driving force of a market economy. It's the engine that powers pretty much everything.
Ultimately, the biggest benefit is for us. Competition raises our standard of living, giving us better products at better prices. But even more importantly, it gives us the power to decide what gets made, simply by choosing where we spend our money. There's a powerful concept for this. It's called consumer sovereignty.
So the next time you choose one coffee shop over the other, or one brand of phone over its rival, just remember this. In this vast, competitive marketplace, you are the ultimate judge. And the real question is, who are you voting for with your money?